I'm back! Man, I needed a break. I was burned out. I was going to make a video and I felt like, I don't feel like doing this. And I thought to myself, what are you doing? This is supposed to be fun. If it feels like a chore, you don't have to do it. So I never made that video. That was like a month or two ago. I'm not really sure. What I needed to find was a way to fit this into my life better, i.e. something that requires very little effort from my slacker ass. So what I've come up with is, I'm calling it a week in the life. Basically what I'm going to record is little video snippets like journal entries throughout the first week of ownership, from the unboxing through each little discovery I make as I wear it more and more. I think it should create a more unique and authentic experience than me just describing the watch to you, so we'll see. Don't worry, I'm still going to go over the specs and details. In fact, I'm going to do that at the top of the video so you have a little better understanding of the watch that I'm rambling on about for the rest of the video. So let's get to it. I'm Pete, and we are Chillin' with Watches. So this is one of the new Timex standards, and it is in a 40mm case that measures 48 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip. It's an impressively thin 9.2 millimeters, and it has 20 millimeter lugs. Now there is lume on the hands. I have no idea what kind it is, but it's not great. This one really relies on the Indiglo for its nighttime viewing. Now all of that sits under a mineral crystal that gives it 50 meters of water resistance and houses the Timex quartz movement that it is running. Almost completely forgot the most important thing, the price. These retail for a full retail price of $89. So I completely forgot to shoot the unboxing part of this, so I'm just going to kind of show you the packaging here. I'm going to unbox it just for the sake of showing you the packaging, and I'll recap what some of my initial thoughts were, as they're still fresh. I just got the watch yesterday. So, you know, Timex standard cardboard box packaging, nothing too fancy. They cover the watch pillow in a pad of foam, but check this guy out. So the first thing that struck me when I unboxed it was, oh, it's a little bigger than, I knew it was 40, but and I don't think it wears like a big 40, but it was just larger. I think I was super used to 36s, and I thought, boy, that looks a little big. Second thing I noticed was the dial. It's super matte. There's like no reflective to it at all, which is something I really like, especially in vintage inspired pieces. I just think it has that old, maybe even in not vintage inspired pieces, it just has that old school look that I really like. The other thing that stood out to me at first glance was the strap. I thought that's actually a pretty sweet looking strap. I could actually see myself wearing this. It's sort of like a leather back. I don't want to call this sailcloth, because I think this is more of just kind of like a polyester canvas or something. But I love the stitching, how it matches the hour markers and the hands on the dial, and yeah, pretty simple, plain buckle. That was my first initial few thoughts, you know, packaging wise. To finish that out, you got your Timex book that I'm never going to look at in the other half of the box. Somewhere between the unboxing and the second day of ownership, I remembered, oh yeah, it has Indiglo. So let's check that out. Perfect. I was hoping for a low light condition, not quite full dark. You can see there is lume on the hands, nothing on the dial, but I love when you hit the Indiglo button, it almost pops into a reverse light up. It is so good. Like, you can see all the numbers and the markers, the minute track, everything very clearly. It almost looks digital. It's insane. The other thing I noticed going into that second day was that the lume on the hands doesn't quite match the markers on the dial, because the dial is not lumed. It's kind of that faux vintage color, but the hands are a little more yellow, whereas the dial is a little more orange. One of the other things I noticed on day 2 was the stick lugs. I guess they didn't really pop out amongst all the other things to me when I first looked at it, but I normally do not like stick lugs. I just think they look a little funny, but apparently they didn't bother me too much, because it took me a whole day to notice them. Going into day 3, I really started to appreciate this case. This is not a case shape that I would normally rave about or get too excited about. It's pretty simple and kind of old-fashioned almost, if you want to call it, but it is only 9.2 millimeters thick and it wears like a dream. It's a Timex Quartz, so it's super light. It's nothing on the wrist. And, you know, I even started to not mind those stick lugs at all. And I really like the kind of onion crown too, because going into day 3, I couldn't stop playing with the Indiglow because it's so cool. And I really like the crown that you use to activate that Indiglow as well. Check out this super cool signed crown. Uses like a TX logo housed inside a circle that's etched on the outside of that onion crown. Really nice touch and nice effect. One of the other things I noticed around this time was that the seconds hand seems to hit all the marks on the minute track, which is amazing. I do not remember if any of the Timex Qs I owned did that or not. I don't think so, though. I don't remember that standing out, but this one seems to hit the marks just great. I also noticed around this time that it is not quite the strap monster that you would think it is. Despite this strap being pretty cool, I do not wear it on the strap. I find myself to never wear a watch on its OEM strap, probably because I'm a flipper and I like to keep them pristine. But a couple of straps here, there are ones that I tried on it that I did think it looked okay on. It looks pretty neat on this. I think that goes close enough to the dial and hands that it gave it a kind of pretty cool look. I also liked it on this darker khaki ribbed Nato. I thought it looked pretty good on there. Again, has a little bit of the orangey to it, so it's not quite a perfect match to the dial, but it was close enough that I thought it was pretty cool. But I didn't really wear it on this because I just thought it looked so much better on the black. This is what I seem to have settled into wearing it on. It's been on this mostly. I have this old Halios green canvas, which I think gives it a cool kind of vintage military vibe. I like it on that one too. I probably will wear it on this at some point. And I'll probably wear it on this at some point as well. This strap tends to beef up watches a little bit. I didn't know if it would overpower those lugs in the case, but it's a decent rubber option. I need to find something with some kind of pattern. I do not like smooth rubber straps. And it also looks super cool on this leather Zulu, also a little bit orangey. Not the same color as the dial, but I think in the palette, so it does work okay. Again, gives it a kind of cool vintage vibe. For rubber straps, I really thought I would love it on this Marlin Bando strap from Cheapest Nato. It kind of has a, I don't know, lizard or snake skin kind of effect to it, but also a little bit tropic with the vents. And at first when I put it on there, I didn't like it, but looking at it here, maybe I do. I'll have to give this another go. I think my initial surprise at the size on this one, and by size I mean its diameter, was more due to the diameter to thickness ratio. It's a really thin watch, so at 40 millimeters, it starts to move into that dinner plate territory, where it just looks big, round, and flat. But I also have realized that it presents on the wrist as small for a 40, as I'll show you here. So the thinness is really starting to work in its favor. It really doesn't have a dinner plate effect on wrist at all, and I'm actually really enjoying the way this one wears a lot. I was initially concerned about these skinny little stick lugs, and at first I really liked the way a Nato strap kind of adds some bulk and some heft in that area and doesn't accentuate those skinny little stick lugs. But what it actually looks great on is bracelets. Specifically, it looks fantastic on this mesh. It really changes up the whole character and the dynamic of the watch. Gives it a little more of a dressy feel, but still quite sporty. And I don't know if you noticed earlier, I had it on this fishbone. So yeah, I'm really finding that stick lugs work great with straight end link bracelets. I've never taken a really hard look at the Omega Railmaster. So here on day 5, I decided I would bring one up alongside this watch and see just how close they are in comparison. And while at a glance they are extremely similar, but I noticed the Railmaster has kind of those pointy markers all the way around instead of this combination of sticks and triangles. Timex did keep the same exact balance of text with just a single line for the brand at the top and 3 lines of text at 6 o'clock. But I've also realized that I really like this combination of aged loom, tan markers, and white dial text. less and less new things to glean, I'm realizing as we go into day 6, but I have confirmed my original opinion that this thing crushes on bracelets. Here I have it on a Spidel Twist-A-Flex, and hopefully in this video you've seen it on a few different bracelets. I did not realize stick lugs would work good with straight end link bracelets, but man, I really like the way it works out in this bracelet here. The polish kind of matches the case and it gives it just that little extra bit of vintage charm. Final thoughts as we wrap up this first week of ownership. Man, this thing is just wonderful in its simplicity. It's super basic, but it's airy on the wrist. It's legible and, you know, just a smidge fun as well. It's too easy to just choose. It's a no date, so I never have to really touch it to mess with it. Other than changing the battery, which I'm obviously going to drain super fast because I can't not play with the Indiglo all day long. So there you go, the Timex Standard. Really curious what you guys think of this watch. Is it a little too close to the Railmaster for comfort? Or do you not care about that and just find it to be a boring watch? I think it's a killer little watch that really grew on me more and more as I wore it. I'm also really curious what you guys think of the new Formax. If you didn't think it was possible, I found a way to make my videos even shittier. So let me know about that in the comments as well. Please don't hold back because I don't care. All right, that's it. I'm out. If it's not too much trouble, please like, subscribe, bell, all the things I need to help this channel grow. I'd appreciate it. I'm out. Peace.